Keep watching The Politics every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on New York Parrot TV, the voice for humanity.
Good morning this Friday afternoon. It's nice and warm out there for February. We're in the mid-50s, or we'll be getting into the mid-50s. I am Robert Kress, official reporter for the Bronx Chronicle, Parkchester Times, Co-op City News, and host of this show here, Talking Bronx Politics. My guest today will be Phyllis Tiz Nastasio, a candidate for the 13th City Council race on the Republican side. But before I get to that, the funeral services for Cordell Scott, who passed away on Sunday, January 23rd, 2023, at the age of 15, were held this morning at the Eternity Funeral Services on Gun Hill Road. His stepfather is accused of killing him. Let me just go into another sad note. President Biden gave his State of the Union speech Tuesday night, I believe. Some of the highlights include that he wants a massive investment into infrastructure. He wants the Inflation Reduction Act. He created 12 million new jobs. There is 10 million new small businesses. And he wants to, increase the debt. Normally, a Democrat wants to spend. The Republican response was by Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who is only 40 years old and half the age of President Biden. She opened that there is no more right or left. It is now normal or crazy, meaning that there is no more right wing or left wing. It is crazy or normal. It's time for a new generation to leap into politics, into office. And this is our moment. This is our opportunity, she said. Well, as he spoke, President Biden said to Kevin McCarthy, the new Republican Speaker of the House, "Congratulations, Congressman McCarthy, pardon me." And he turned around to shake his hand and said, "I don't want to ruin your reputation, but I look forward to working with you, Congressman McCarthy." Biden was jeered as he spoke sometimes and said, it's those Republicans' fault. And, they got up and they said boo to him. One was Marjorie Taylor Greene, who called Biden a liar when he said Republicans want to take away Social Security and Medicare. Well, so much for Biden's State of the Union speech. We'll see what happens. And the country, well, I know my 401k, my stock market has gone down 20% since Biden's been in. I was a millionaire. Now I'm an almost millionaire. Okay. So that's what I think of President Biden. As far as the New York State legislature, the state assembly and state senate are going through the governor's $227 billion budget to see where they might make changes to their advantage in their districts, where funding may have been left out to their pet projects. And how they might be able to change these little things. Like, for instance, the governor wants to add 85 more charter schools to New York City. But we know, or I should say I know, and those of us in politics know, that the United Federation of Teachers controls most of the state legislature, because I know at a past meeting with the chancellors and where they set up a SAVE legislation, which created another teaching spot in each school. The UFT was there to say, we created this, we got this passed in Albany. So, anything that comes out of Albany education-wise, they are bought and paid for by the New York City United Federation of Teachers. And speaking of New York City, Mayor Adams has now said no longer will city workers need to be vaccinated. He has lifted the ban for city workers, but those who were fired now have to reapply for their jobs as if they are new employees. I'm sure the unions are going to have something to say about that, and we'll see how that goes, because these people, well, the unions are going to say these people should be given back their seniority and back pay, since you're now lifting the mandate that really some people didn't get. And as far as COVID levels go, I put on every day on my blog at 100%.blogspot.com the COVID levels issued by the New York State governor. And at the beginning of January, we were up over 10% here in the Bronx. We're now under 5% in the Bronx as far as the COVID levels. Now, they've changed how those levels are counted, because when Mayor Bill de Blasio was in, he shut down the city at 1.5%. So it's a different type of thing now. And basically, what Mayor Adams is saying, COVID is over. Now, I caught COVID 3 years ago, the first week of March in 2022. I haven't had it since. I got over it in 5 days when it was said to be 2 weeks. And I've been told by the Commissioner of Health back then and the head of Health and Hospitals Corporation, Dr. Katz, that I have become immune. And a lot of us who had COVID early on became immune if you didn't have any underlying diseases, like I don't. But we'll see what happens now with this COVID, because you're no longer required to wear masks, but we should still practice safety. We should still wash our hands. We should still, I sometimes wear gloves when I go out, just so I don't have, my hand doesn't touch the public or where everybody else is touching. I'm careful when somebody sneezes or coughs. I move away from them. I make sure that, I'm away from them. And we need to be cautious, because COVID is still out there and people will still get it. We've seen, that some people do still get it. One of the Community Board 11 members, who is the housing chair, had to cancel her meeting last week because she had COVID. It was the message. And speaking of Community Board 11, the 333 unit Boston Commons, I'll call it, at 2560 Boston Road, where the Fine Fair supermarket is, a developer has proposed a 10-story building, which Community Board 11 voted down on the reason of the income levels would be too high for admittance into that building. Now, through my experience and knowledge from 6 years on Community Board 8, where we had all of these new buildings coming in on the west side of the Bronx, and they are now coming to the East Bronx. So myself, with my knowledge and experience, said, well, we need some more information. How many of each apartment is there? How many studios, 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms are proposed, which weren't said to Community Board 11? What size will the apartments be, which wasn't said to Community Board 11? Then what is the construction plan? Where are the vehicles going to be? What streets are going to be closed? Where is the materials going to be held? Also, where are they going to clean the cement trucks? Because if they clean them in the street, it's just going to go into the sewer and block up the sewer. That's illegal, that they can't clean their cement trucks in the street. So all of this was not said. Community Board 11 voted down, though, on the premise of the amounts of the AMI, average median income, which is what the rents are going to be based on. The borough president held a meeting. I spoke at the meeting and saying the same thing. And we have finally found out that there will be 89 studios, 149 one-bedroom apartments, 50 two-bedroom apartments, and 50 three-bedroom apartments, because those are the minimum 2 and 3 bedroom apartments. The sizes of the apartments, though, you're going to start at 350 to 400 square feet for a studio, 500 to 550 square feet for a one-bedroom apartment. 700 to 750 square feet for a 2-bedroom, and 775, I think, to 850 for a 3-bedroom apartment. Now, I'm in my living room right now, which is probably the size of the 1-bedroom apartment. Okay, so I can't believe how small those apartments are, and my worry is that it won't be changed to a homeless shelter, as we saw in Community Board 8 when we approved a housing project, a unit which was market rate housing. All right, all of a sudden the developer turned around and made it a homeless shelter. So Community Board 11 has to be very careful that this project on Boston Road does not become a full homeless shelter, but they are putting 15% of the apartments for homeless people, because that's a law, city law now, a city law resolution 1211 that 15% of all new housing that receives any city funding must have a 15% set aside for the homeless. I'm going to change my tone a little bit because I'm going to speak about Rikers Island now. Rikers Island, about a week ago, had a big gang fight, which has now become known, and the Bronx district attorney who covers Rikers Island has indicted 9 members who attacked 6 other members and beat them up for 15 minutes so bad that they were put in the hospital. These are 9 members of one gang, I won't mention it, who beat up a rival gang, 6 members of a rival gang. Put them in the hospital, and it was pretty bad. Now, we have supposedly this program called Just Home coming to Jacoby Hospital. It is for inmates, for detainees. A detainee is a person in Rikers Island awaiting their trial, which is 84% of the population, and 16% of the population are inmates who have been convicted of a crime and are waiting to go to a prison upstate, because Rikers Island, technically, you cannot stay in Rikers Island for more than 1 year. However, we have seen that rule has always been broken. And Rikers Island currently has over 5,100 inmates, and these new city jails have nowhere the capacity to hold that. And now, if the governor, who said she wants to change the no cash bail to allow judges more discretion, so you'll have more prisoners or more people being held on Rikers Island. So you're going to need more borough jails. But my question is, since these 6 gang members have been hospitalized and are medically able to enter this Just Home program, will they wind up in Just Home? Are we going to put gang members in Jacoby Hospital without any walls or anything? The door will be open. They'll be free to go out anywhere they want in the community. And as Health and Hospitals Corporation said, they will be able to take the BX12 bus and go anywhere in the Bronx and the city. It is now time for my commercial, so I will stop right here. When we come back, I'll introduce my guest, Ms. Phyllis Tiz Nastasio.
Do you wish your business makes it to the top list of the most searched for business in the US and around the world? Or are you searching for halal compliant services and products online? Then Halal Finder is your online resource directory, pointing you to the right places and products. Let's help you explore halal products and services of your choice as we manage many halal businesses across the world. Promote your business with halalfinder.com, the only plug you need to grow. Our services include business listing, digital marketing, branding strategy, SEO campaigns, crowdfunding, and humanitarian support. On our Compassion Corner, we offer crowdfunding of halal ventures and humanitarian services. In this section, you can make or receive donations, start donation campaign, and check existing donation campaigns. And by paying zakat and sadaqah to our Compassion platform on halalfinder.com, you have supported the poor, widows or widowers, orphans, and the likes around the world. Contact us at info@halal. In a world where the quality of information available to poorer communities is doctored, tainted, and sometimes regressive, where the words fake news have come to mean other people's opinions, it is vital to rely on news platforms with journalists who have feet on the ground and can report the truth. New York PARROT, a New York-based national and global news outlet, is changing the narratives of media operations. We focus on the news that matters, like self-empowerment, entrepreneurship, finances, health, security, politics, and more. We strive to curb violence, racial and economic discrimination, and to promote peace and socio-economic development of multiculturally diverse world. As we give voice to the people, we also give your business a voice and make it heard. Get your products and services off the ground by advertising on our fast-growing platform. With so much of daily visits to New York PARROT, You can't afford to be invisible to prospective clients on the websites they trust the most. Our posts reach millions of people across the New York State and around the world. Advertising on our news site will unlock an audience of thousands of potential customers on your doorstep. New York Parrot is born to prosperously speak tomorrow for the voiceless.
Okay, is my guest, Mrs. Stasio, with us?
I'm here. How are you? Good afternoon, Bob.
Okay. It is imperative of the candidates running for office that, and even the incumbents, that they be available to the public and the media. And I want to thank Mr. Stasio for coming on. Unfortunately, last week I had a substitute, Gonzalo Duran, for Miss Samantha Zerka, who was supposed to come on, and next week will be the final candidate for the Republican Party, Miss I forgot it, Christy Marimano. So let's get right in and speak to Ms. Nastasio. And Mr. Phyllis, you ran for the Assembly against John Zucchero Jr. You did fairly well. What makes you think that you can defeat Marjorie Velazquez, who is the Democratic incumbent? So let's get right into it.
Right into it. Well, Marjorie kind of did it to herself, excuse me, by voting in favor of the up zone when she promised her community that she would stand with them. We can't have a councilwoman that is not going to back her community. My whole goal is to make sure my community is heard, my community gets what they need, and that I back them and listen to what they want.
As far as the district, okay, we have a program called Just Home, which is proposed for Jacoby Hospital. What is your opinion on that?
Well, I've been part of that fight since day one. I started the petition drive, the paper and the online petitions. I ordered all the signs that you see in all the yards throughout Indian Village. So I'm totally against it. Absolutely 100% will fight it with my last breath.
And what would you like to see in Building 2 at Jacoby Hospital in place of the Just Home?
Well, in December, I did submit a proposal to the borough president's office. I would like to see it turned into a women's health clinic, which I believe she mentioned for Boston Road. So it looks like she's taken my idea and trying to place it someplace else. But by placing it on the grounds of Jacoby, you have the medical staff right there that is needed for it. And you can remove the maternity ward from Jacoby and free up beds. So that's a win-win situation.
Well, Jacoby, as it is already, is understaffed and overutilized, as you say.
Yes, it is.
I went there for the dental, and basically after I was able to get an appointment, but as you see, I no longer wear glasses because I had surgery on my eyes to remove cataracts, which was on the same day of that dental appointment. I asked for another day, and I got a call from the head of the dental unit who said, "Go elsewhere. We're not taking any more appointments."
Yeah.
Okay. Which is not, they had booked up for a year, he said. So, I mean, that's not the way you run a hospital.
Right.
All right. You have people come, they have to sit all day. And then if they don't get called, they have to come back the next day and sit again. It's almost like motor vehicle used to be, if you remember.
Absolutely.
Okay. Moving on, though. You're now the chair of the Education Committee on Community Board 11. And the former Education Chair is now the chair of the Community Board.
Yes.
There was a problem where the borough president spokesperson, Arlene Makoko, said that the borough president sent out a memo on March 7th of 2022 stating that people who are running for office should not be on the board. They should either take a leave of absence or step down. Now, you ran in June of 2022. Did you ever get that memo or see that memo?
No, I did not. Nope. This just seems to have surfaced now because of it's Bernadette.
Or you mean because she's a Democrat running against the incumbent Democrat?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Christian Amato ran before. He was never asked to step down. So where's the precedent here?
Now, you're a teacher in the district. What do you see about education in Community Board 11, the schools? What is needed?
What is needed? Middle school. They've been promising us for years that we would get a middle school. We still don't have it.
And
we need it. We're desperate for it.
And PS 108 on Neal Avenue has another building in the schoolyard, but they want to make it a bigger K-5 school when the community wants a K-8 school.
Right, but it's not their choice. It has to come from the Board of Ed.
Well, yes. And what is the...
I don't know if you were part of our last meeting.
Yes, I was.
108 principal and assistant principals were guests of ours. It's going to be beautiful once it's complete. And they're going to add things to it, but they said they don't have a say in whether it goes up to 8th grade or not.
Will you, as education chair, ask the superintendent of the district to come on and ask her that question?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, because I was on Community Board 8, and that's what we did when we made a 6 to 8 school at junior high school where my daughter attended in Riverdale to a 6 to 12 school. Because we found out in District 10, we had schools that went K-2, which were an Archdiocese building because they didn't want any higher grades.
Right.
But
education. Yeah.
The question is, is it better that a child stay in a school or they move from school to school?
Well, as you know, in Catholic schools, they're there from K-8.
Right.
I think they build bonds and have stronger friendships. And they're more comfortable. It's a comfortable surrounding. Whenever you have to go to another school, you're meeting new friends. You're meeting new teachers. My students, because since I teach art, I've had them from kindergarten to 8th grade. By the time they get to 8th grade, they're my family. I know them. That's what we need. We need more of that in schools. We need the kids to be able to feel comfortable with their teachers, to talk to them if there's a problem. And we have that in the Catholic schools.
Now, the mayor has proposed 3,000 units of housing, affordable housing, at each Metro North station in Community Board 11. The Morris Park station, which Montefiore has already bought the supermarket Stop and Shop, and that's supposed to close soon. And then in the Van Ness Parkchester area, they proposed a building right next to the Con Ed plant. What is your opinion of all these new buildings going up, which weren't in the original plan, but now that the mayor wants to put them up there, plus you have 2 shelters that are being built in Community Board 11. What is your opinion about all this affordable housing and shelters?
I'm not against affordable housing, and I'm not against putting buildings up in those areas, but I think they're going a little too extreme. You don't need 12-story buildings in a community of private homes. We still have to respect the rights of private homeowners. And it seems like our rights are getting trampled on. Nobody wants to hear what the private homeowner has to say. And it's just too much. It's too much. They need to scale it down a bit.
Well, it's already starting in Community Board 10 in the Pelham Bay area where houses are being bought up and then 8-story buildings are going up in corner lots which have land. Any building that has a yard and driveway is a prime target for developers to buy and build these houses.
Yes, it is.
And they're not houses for families. They're building up studios and 1-bedrooms, basically, with a minimum amount of 2 or 3 bedrooms, as we saw on Boston Road. And they're very small apartments, so you can't raise a family in them. Whereas in the house, you can have, a family can stay there for 50 years and drop it down from generation to generation. What is your opinion on all of this small building? Because in Riverdale, the same size building only has 13 apartments because they're 2 and 3 bedroom apartments for people to stay there. So do you think that they should be building larger apartments here, or just, no apartments, period, and leave the houses alone?
Absolutely. We're a family community. The apartments that they're building should reflect that. They should be appropriate for a family to grow up in. The sizes that you gave before. My living room and dining room is the size of their 2-bedroom apartments. That's insane.
Now, you also are the chair of the Bronx Columbus Day Parade.
Yes.
Is that parade going to be happening this year? And are you already starting for it? Because, I know you need about 6 months to prepare for it.
Yes. I am going to be filing for the permit in the next couple of weeks. But yes, we have already started reaching out to our floats and our bands. So yeah, it's definitely going on, and I proudly chair that committee.
Yeah, because last year it was because of COVID, the parades were smaller and whatever, and hopefully this will be back to the pre-COVID status.
Well, the issue with that is a lot of the bands that used to participate no longer exist. They broke up during COVID. So that's why we haven't had as many bands coming in. And also we weren't getting the funding that we were promised. That's another thing that needs to be looked at. When a community organization is giving money by the elected officials, you have to basically jump through hoops in order to have that money come in. You have to submit receipts. So you have to spend it before you get it.
Well, I know that, are you familiar with participatory budgeting and the allotments that the council members get?
Yes.
All right. What do you think of participatory budgeting? Do you think it's a good idea or not?
It's always a good idea when we can get any money into the community. And they did have a site where you could go on and put in the projects that you would like to see for your community. I mean, how they pick those projects, I'm not too sure about, because it looked like not the best projects were chosen to get worked on.
Well, that's, again, up to the council person, council member. And my feelings are that the council member, if they don't know what projects are needed, then, they shouldn't be in office.
Right.
Going back to our current council member, okay, where do you think exactly she's going wrong besides backing that Bruckner upzoning? Any other things that you see she's doing wrong?
Who sees her? She hasn't showed up for one meeting in Community Board 11. Not one. None of the committee meetings, not the community board meeting, none of the organizational meetings, precinct council, nothing.
Well, let me just say one thing to you. Community Board 11 under Bronx Borough President Ruben Diaz had a full 50 board members. When Borough President Gibson, she left 10 seats vacant, and now there are 2 more vacancies, one from September that hasn't been filled. And this is a copy of the city charter here, all right, which states that vacancies among appointed members shall be filled promptly upon the incurrences of the vacancy by the borough president for the remainder of the unexpired term in the same manner as regular appointments. Do you think there's a reason why there's so many vacancies on Community Board 11?
Well, I really can't comment on why, but I do know that people have submitted applications to be put on the community board. So I don't see, there shouldn't be any vacancies.
Right. In the borough president's statement that she had made in September, she says she wants experience and knowledge on Community Board 11. Now, I've applied, and I can't understand why I'm not on there with all my experience and knowledge, except one dirty word, politics. Which is, normally what happens, because I understand you now have a union member on your board. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is there any problems that you see on Community Board 11? That this new chair will have to take care of.
I'm sure Bernadette is going to be right on top of everything. So if any problems do arise, she'll handle them as they come.
Okay. We have a few minutes left. So is there anything that you want to say in closing that you want the audience to know?
I just want people to know that I am a community member. I've been fighting for this community for many years. I've been involved in all aspects of it, from coaching Little League to being on the community board and all the organizations. And I will always fight for this community.
And Councilman Mark Jonah, I believe, put you on the community board.
Yes.
Now, if appointed, or if you win the election as the city council member, you will be given a larger share of that community board but it's the borough president that makes the final appointments.
Well, I'm up for reappointment too, so let's see how that goes.
All right. Let me say thank you to Miss Phyllis Tisnastachio. Wish you good luck. And and before she leaves, Phyllis had a fundraiser last night at Patsy's which I attended, and I will be putting a report on that with some photos because the president of the Morris Park Community Association, Mr. Al D'Angelo, attended. And I want to thank Phyllis. It was a very nice event.
Thank you for coming.
Okay, and let me just close by saying next week my guest will be Christy Marimano, the 5th and final candidate for the Republican side of the City Council 13th Council District. I will have other guests. It is imperative of the candidates. For instance, there will be a primary, from what I'm understanding, in the 14th Council District between Parina Sanchez and Rachel Bradshaw. I believe Eric Dinowitz will be facing a challenger in the 11th Council District. We know the 17th Council District. I had Gonzalo Duran on last week, and I hope that Rafael Salamanca, the incumbent, would come on because he has done a great job as a councilman. And let me just say thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week here on Parrot TV, Talking Politics. Thank you.
Do you wish your business makes it to the top list of the most searched for business in the US and around the world? Or are you searching for halal compliant services and products online? Then Halal Finder is your online resource directory pointing you to the right places and products. Let's help you explore halal products and services of your choice as we manage many halal businesses across the world. Promote your business with halalfinder.com, the only plug you need to grow. Our services include business listing, digital marketing, branding strategy, SEO campaigns, crowdfunding, and humanitarian support. On our Compassion Corner, we offer crowdfunding of halal ventures and humanitarian services. In this section, you can make or receive donations, start donation campaign, and check existing donation campaigns. And by paying zakat and sadaqah to our Compassion platform on halalfinder.com, you have supported the poor, widows or widowers.